Good day, BSRT 1A. I'm Maria Corazon Cory Simulon Cojuangco Aquino, the first female Philippine president. I served as the 11th Philippine president from 1986 to 1992, and during my tenure, I achieved several significant firsts. These include being the first president to have the oath of office administered by an associate justice, the first president to have no previous experience in government, the first president from Tarlac, and the first president who is a member of PDP Laban Party. Thank you for having me. It is my pleasure to share my experiences with the next generation of leaders. My speech to the U.S. Congress was a pivotal moment in my presidency. It was an opportunity to engage with the international community and highlight the challenges the Philippines was facing during that time. It also allowed me to thank the American people for their assistance in our quest for democracy. I hope my story can inspire others in their own journey towards democracy and progress. It was a very emotional moment for me. 3 years prior, I had left America in grief after burying my husband Ninoy Aquino. I never imagined that I would return to America as the president of a free Philippines. It gave me a sense of purpose and determination to work towards the greater good of our nation. The nation honored him as their hero. For the nation, Ninoy became the pleasing sacrifice that answered their prayers for freedom. His loss was deeply felt by all Filipinos who yearned for democracy and freedom. During that time, a president-turned-dictator had suspended the Constitution and shut down the Congress. They detained my husband along with thousands of others who had spoken up for democracy. For Ninoy, a long and cruel ordeal was reserved, as the dictator wished to break his spirit. But even while in prison, Ninoy kept the spirit of democracy alive in himself. His loss was a deep and painful one, and we had to endure it 3 times in our lives. For myself and our children, Ninoy was a loving husband and father. But we also recognized the significance of his role as a national hero, and we felt proud of his dedication to our country. We were all deeply affected by his commitment to democracy. Although it would have been much easier for him to make a separate peace with the dictatorship, he chose to hold out and fight for the democratic alternative. Even under the most difficult circumstances, he never wavered in his belief in democracy, and that deeply inspired us. 2 million people threw aside their passivity and escorted him to his grave. His death was a turning point for our country. It was a painful loss for me and for our family, but it was also my country's resurrection in the courage and faith needed for them to be free again. It was an emotional moment for our entire country. The task had fallen on my shoulders to continue offering the democratic alternative to our people. As a committed defender of democracy, it was my responsibility to play my part in ensuring that the democratic alternative continued even after my husband's death. I played a role in the revolution that brought me to democracy's most famous home, the Congress of the United States. The United States played a very important role in our country's fight for democracy. They provided much-needed assistance and support, and it was very much appreciated. It was truly an honor for me to speak before the United States Congress and express my gratitude for their support. Our country faced many challenges during the election. Armed goons crashed the polling places and attempted to steal the ballots. However, our people stood fast by democracy against threats and corruption. Women poll watchers broke out in tears but still tied themselves to the ballot boxes. Our people were so committed to democracy that they were prepared to give their lives for its pale imitation. I felt a great sense of relief and pride when I announced the people's victory in the election. It was an extraordinary manifestation of democracy on the part of the Filipino people, and it was a testament to their courage and integrity. I came to power peacefully, and I am committed to keeping it that way. That is my contract with my people and my commitment to God. I believe that violence only begets violence, and I am committed to achieving our goals through peaceful means. I believe that the blood drawn with the lash shall not, in my country, be paid by blood drawn by the sword but by the tearful joy of reconciliation. Our country was able to come together and reconcile after the election, and we were able to move forward as a united nation. It was a moment of hope and optimism for our country's future. My predecessor set aside democracy to save it from a communist insurgency that numbered less than 500. Unhampered by respect for human rights, he went at it hammer and tongs. By the time he fled, that insurgency had grown to more than 16,000. This shows that trying to stifle a thing with the means by which it grows is not an effective strategy. Through political initiatives and local reintegration programs, we must seek to bring the insurgents down from the hills and, by economic progress and justice, show them that for which the best intentioned among them fight. We must approach this issue with a commitment to peace and a willingness to work towards a solution. As president, I will not betray the cause of peace by which I came to power. However, I also cannot stand by and allow an insurgent leadership to spurn our offer of peace and kill our young soldiers, and threaten our new freedom. It is a delicate balance, but we will do everything in our power to protect our country and our people while also working towards a path of peace and reconciliation. To those who are involved in the insurgency, I would like to convey the message that we are committed to finding a peaceful solution to this issue. We want to work with you and show you that what you are fighting for can be achieved through peaceful means. We urge you to come down from the hills and engage in dialogue with us to find a way forward that benefits all of our people. Like Lincoln, I understand that force may be necessary before mercy. However, I don't relish it. I believe in doing whatever it takes to defend the integrity and freedom of my country. We shall honor our $26 billion foreign debt, but the means by which we shall be able to do so should not be kept from us. Many conditions imposed on the previous government that stole this debt continue to be imposed on us who never benefited from it, and no assistance or liberality commensurate with the calamity that was visited on us has been extended. We fulfilled the first and most difficult conditions of the debt negotiation, the full restoration of democracy and responsible government, with little help from others. When I met with President Reagan yesterday, we began an important dialogue about cooperation and the strengthening of the friendship between our two countries. That meeting was both a confirmation and a new beginning and should lead to positive results in all areas of common concern. I am optimistic that our cooperation with the United States will help us address some of the challenges we face and promote the prosperity of both our countries. Elsewhere, and in other times of more stringent world economic conditions, Marshall Plans and their like were felt to be necessary companions of returning democracy. I believe that foreign assistance can be an important tool for helping developing democracies overcome some of the challenges they face. However, such assistance should be provided on fair terms and should be commensurate with the needs of the country. Developing democracies should not be burdened with unfair conditions or unsustainable debt. We face a communist insurgency that feeds on economic deterioration, even as we carry a great share of the free world defenses in the Pacific. These are only two of the many burdens my people carry even as they try to build a worthy and enduring house for their new democracy that may serve as well as a redoubt for freedom in Asia. It is a difficult and complex task that requires the commitment and support of the entire nation. Half our export earnings, $2 billion out of $4 billion, went to pay just the interest on a debt whose benefit the Filipino people never received. Still, we fought for honor, and, if only for honor, we shall pay. However, we also question whether we should have to wring the payments from the sweat of our men's faces and sink all the wealth piled up by the bondsman's 250 years of unrequited toil. This debt is a significant burden that hinders our ability to invest in the development of our country. To all Americans, as the leader of a proud and free people, I address this question: has there been a greater test of national commitment to the ideals you hold dear than that my people have gone through? You have spent many lives and much treasure to bring freedom to many lands that were reluctant to receive it. Here you have a people who won it by themselves and need only the help to preserve it. I believe that a strong partnership and cooperation with the United States can help us build a new home for democracy, another haven for the oppressed, so it may stand as a shining testament to our two nations' commitment to freedom. Democracy and freedom are the foundation of our nation and the hope of our people. We believe that every Filipino deserves the right to be free, to pursue happiness, to be treated with dignity and respect, and to have a voice in the decisions that affect their lives. We are fighting for freedom not only for ourselves, but for all people who seek liberty and justice. We hope to build a democracy that can serve as a shining example of hope and opportunity for the rest of Asia and the world. Yes, I would like to thank your audience for their interest and support in our nation-building efforts. I believe that with the help of our friends and allies, we can overcome our challenges and build a brighter future for our country and our people. I also encourage everyone to continue to promote democracy, freedom, and human rights, not only in the Philippines, but also in the rest of the world. Thank you again and God bless.